I often reflect on the term toxicity, and I feel that sensationalizing something always puts too much pressure, and so my mind automatically starts to balance out the definition because it's who I am. I've just stopped fighting it. I am somebody who will always be a balancer, and I will always naturally feel called to looking at things in a balanced way. So, as I was looking at the term toxicity, I just realized if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm peeling peas while I'm talking to you because it feels normal to do that right now. Yeah. So, getting back to the topic, as I was talking about toxicity, as I was thinking about toxicity, I realized toxic is something, someone, or someplace that just has served its purpose. Um, it's it's something that is redundant, and it is not something which is like, oh my god, I have to stay away from toxicity. It's just that, okay, at one point of time you were functional, you were useful, you were helpful, you helped me cope with whatever I was experiencing in that moment. You were a necessary part of me at that moment. But now, since I have more abundant or healthier coping strategies, or the way I look at life, or the way I think, or the way I want to live my life, and now you're redundant. So that is what toxicity is. Toxicity is simply baggage it's just energy that is better released than held on to. Now, that can manifest in the form of a person, a place, our job, clothes, and like material things and everything. So that's what toxic is. Toxic is not something which. So when I'm dealing with my toxicity, and I'd be too stupid to say that I don't have, we all have our own toxic traits, So when I'm coping with my toxicity, or when I am not coping, when I am facing or allowing my toxic traits to surface, I invite them to the surface, and with my intention, and then life naturally happens in a way where experiences happen, and conflicts happen, or just life happens where I realize, oh, that's a thought pattern that needs to go, or that's a way of emotional response that no longer serves me. That is a way of thinking and a way of going about things, my approach that doesn't work anymore, and I need to release that. I need to, and then I am compassionate with my toxicity. Like, once I understand it, I'm like, oh yeah, because I realize the only way to, or rather, I'm not going to say the only way, I will say the way that I choose to face my toxicity is through embracing it. And that's what really works for me, because you can't counter hate with hate. You can counter hate with love, and you cannot counter fight with fight. Fight goes away, like struggle goes away with rest. And you can't, if you're tired running, you can't run more to be feel better. You have to stop and rest. So that's why I face my toxicity with love, as much love and as much compassion as I can give it. And I have come up with visualization practices. The visualizations just come to me once I guess I've been doing this work for like a really long time, deliberately. So the visuals just come to me, and I feel like whatever visuals come to me for the same intention, they are the most effective, because I realized that, I remember that sometime back I was meditating, and what happened was, I was working on something. I was deliberately working on surrendering a part of myself that clearly was baggage now. So the visual that came to me was, I was standing at the shore, and there is a female form that is, which I knew intuitively, which was me, was like a dark shadow of me who was like crawling out from under the sea and like coming onto the shore, and I just extended my hand to her. Like the me standing on the shore just extended my hand to her, and I just pulled her out and I just hugged her. And when I did, I remember it was so powerful. Even now I'm almost tearing up because it was such a powerful form of release, because I didn't want to be hurtful towards her, because she kept me alive and she kept me going, even though in survival mode. But that is what got me through a lot of things in life and through a lot of situations. This happens because whatever I feel very strongly. So, well, I held her in my arms and I just hugged her so tightly, and then I saw that shadow self of mine is just dispersed into thin air, and I know that it was such a powerful experience for me to have gone through, and I love it when I can be compassionate and I can feel the release more fully when I'm compassionate towards myself. So whenever, like, this is how I approach my toxicity. Whenever I come up with, whenever I'm deliberately working on my toxicity, which is pretty much every day, like pretty much every day, I'm very, very active, proactive about this. Anyway, as I'm working on my toxicity, I choose to be gentle, I choose to be kind, I choose to be, I choose to reinforce the fact that you've done all you could. The version of me, which now is toxic for me, at one point of time was my go-to response set, go-to pattern of thinking, go-to way of life, because she kept me going and surviving, and just, when times were challenging and difficult, that's all I could do, that's all I knew to do. So it's not that she's useless and I hate her, it's that, I'm grateful that she was there, because had she not been there, I wouldn't have had the time and the space and the grace to come to this point where I can now say that I've got my back. I have the space to, and the strength and the foundation to allow myself to be. She was a part of this journey, so how can I ever be mean to her? How can I ever hate her? I'm very, very grateful to her. And so that's how I choose to look at toxicity. And my ex-profession obviously, naturally also helped me come up with terms. There was a point of time where toxic this and toxic that became very trending. Every second person was looking at toxicity. But then, toxicity is not something which suddenly came into existence. It's always been there. It's always going to be there. A certain part of us will always become redundant. A certain, it's like clothes get worn off, and certain, our bodies are changing every single day. Our energies are shifting. So we are constantly, like, something will always fall under the bracket of toxicity. That's how I look at toxicity. And it's not something that as a concept of like, oh, after tomorrow I will be toxic free. It's just that I will be better acquainted with my toxicity, and I'll be kinder and gentler in the way that I keep releasing. The example that's coming to my head is, whatever food I put in my body processes it and absorbs whatever it has to, and the rest needs to be released. And if it's not released, that is what is toxic for my body. That's happening every day. We're deliberately eating, that's like a process that happens every day. And similarly goes for energies and thought patterns and the way that we approach life. Something will always fall in the bracket of toxicity. So toxicity is not something that we need to cut out from our life. It's just that when I'm aware of my toxicity, I can just deal with it better, deal with it in a more gentle, kind and loving way, or at the same time gentle yet strong way. I'm coming to realize what the beautiful paradox of soft and strong is, and oh, it's such a privilege. I'm still getting there, but yeah, I'm realizing what it is, and that is how I look at my toxicity. I am gentle with it, but as the clarity fills in about what, who, where is toxic. But I guess because I've been doing this for a really long time, what happens, it doesn't become uncomfortable, okay, honestly it is uncomfortable, but it's not like, it doesn't turn into like a huge conflict or something. It's not like a big ass painful thorn. It's a discomfort, and I'm like, okay, and sometimes it's really in my face and it's sudden. That also happens, but it doesn't matter how it happens. This is what I intentionally tell spirit every day, like this is what I intend. Show it to me in a way that I can see it in my face and loud. Show it to me in a way that I can process it, because ultimately that's what I need to do. I need to acknowledge it and then I need to process it. I'm quiet because I'm wondering if this has become too heavy a conversation for some people. It could have been, but then again, I'm not forcing you to watch this. You don't need to. I'm just sharing this because I felt called to sharing it, and it will resonate with people that it does, and it'll just click in. You don't even need to. I've realized this, you don't even need to get my expressions. If you are listening to this, if something is holding you on to listening to this video, and if you've not like skipped out in the last 12 minutes, then it's done its job. It's the message has reached you, and it is working out for you. You don't even need to think about it. It's done. The job's done. Yeah, that's me talking about toxicity.